morning, Avigilon partners. This is Nathan Schroeder, Senior Sales Director for the Southeast North America. Thank you for joining us today. We have a jam-packed session with a lot to cover. With me today assisting is Laura Schroeder, the Education Regional Sales Specialist.
Hi, everybody.
Excellent. If you would, just with a show of hands, make sure that you see my screen and that you can hear us loud and clear. Laura, can you confirm? Oh, there we go. All right. Now it's loud.
Yep.
Right
Everybody's good.
All right. Thanks again. Everybody's good. Thanks again for joining. You know, we do these the second Tuesday of every month, and our whole objective is to keep you up to date on everything that is new with Avigilon so that you, our Avigilon partners, are the best informed and most capable to win every project that you present or use Avigilon on. So thank you again for joining. So today we're going to cover two big things. One is our video appliance, the HD Gen 3 video appliance. And the second thing is going to be ACC7. We're going to do a live presentation on ACC7 software. So to give you just a little bit of background on the first generation of our high definition video appliance. In 2014, we released this product in 8 channels, 16 and 24 channels, and it was really our first attempt at a storage device that combined all four: a PoE switch, a storage device, a server running our software, and a device running our client software as well that you could connect a monitor, keyboard, and mouse up to. A simple deployment, plug-and-play type device. Did have some drawbacks, and we fixed some of that in 2017 when we released Gen 2. Which allowed you to change the storage devices that were in there. We increased the power budget. We increased the storage capacity within this device. And of course, we had the OS on a separate drive. And then now we're releasing Gen 3. This has just been released in the past week. These are shipping today. And you will see that we have expanded this product offering even further. You'll see a front bezel that provides much greater airflow through this. Much better easier field replaceable parts from the drives to the fans. So overall, just continuing to improve this product offering. You can see from the front here, 8 channel on top, 16 and 24 below. The front bezel pulls off of this to make it very easy for you to access these drives. This is a quick look at this from the 8 to the 16 to the 24 and some of the key differences that you'll see. And the things you want to pay attention to is the total megabit throughput of this device, the maximum storage that is available, and the PoE budget. Those are the key things. But you can see field replaceable hard drive and power supply for these units. We jump up to 400 megabits total on the 16 with a max of 12 terabytes, 240 watts of PoE budget. And then, of course, on the 24 channel, we go up to 24 terabyte with 360. And if you run the math, it ultimately gives you 15 watts of PoE budget per connection. Now, this budget, this 360 or 240, is shared across these ports. So if you're running devices like PTZs or maybe an infrared camera that's got a little higher power budget, multi-sensors, we share the power budget. So you want to pay close attention to that because you would get to a point where you're maxing out that 360 or 240 or 120. It's important to keep in mind. You'll notice the pricing's changed a little bit too. Now this is all MSRP that we're showing, but what is a little different here I'll touch on in terms of how we're changing the pricing structure a little. This gives you a little look into the back of this. You know, from the USB ports to HDMI ports, IOs in and out, 8 PoE plus 100 megabits camera ports, and a gig uplink port within the 8 channel. And of course, as I mentioned, removable front bezel, field replaceable drives, status lights, all pretty straightforward. Gen 3 Pro, 16 and 24. Similar thing, we step up to RAID 5 with these devices where the 8 channel is not. It is not a RAID, I guess it would be a RAID 1 device, but this is a RAID 5. Both of these are RAID 5 devices, meaning we can lose a drive and continue to operate and field replace that drive. You can see the total throughput. Now, it's important to note, and we do show this on the data sheet, And I have put the data sheet there for you to download. You'll see that there are 4 handouts for you today. One is the appliance that you're looking at now. One is ACC7. There is a new NVR premium server that I'm going to show you as well. And then, of course, I've downloaded, or I've included, the MSRP price list for you to download. All right, so back
to Nathan, sorry to interrupt. I wanted to remind everybody we've gotten one, but I addressed it about the questions section. There is a questions panel over there in the control panel, so be sure as we're going through this, if you have any questions, I'm monitoring those, and we will try to address those as we go.
Great. Thank you, Laura. Jumped right over that, didn't I? So when you're looking at these devices, remember when we say 400 megabits, you'll see on the data sheet, it'll say a 300 megabit input for recording, 100 megabit output for monitoring, viewing the video. You'll see the parts list here, and this, I'm going to let you, of course, download the price list, and I'll show you where that is as well. But you can see the pricing here, and not that you have it memorized, but what we're doing a little different with this, well, I'll tell you what, I'll get to that in the pricing. We are rack mounting these, of course, just like we did before. The 16 and the 24, you can see regular rack mounts for a standard rack type display, and then wall mount rack devices used for the 8-channel is included with this device. That's a little different. You'll see the 3-year warranty, as always, is standard with Avigilon. We are able to provide advanced replacement hard drives and power supplies now. That's a plus from what we have done in the past. You can see the 3-year warranty, 24/7 support, of course. The 3-year warranty does not include operating system or ACC software for major release upgrades. That follows our normal upgrade path from version 5 to 6 to 7 and so on. And it doesn't include on-site troubleshooting. Of course, our servers include that 4-hour type response. Now, let me go to the data sheet if I can. I wanted you to take a look at this so that it's pretty clear for you. You can download this, please do. I'm just going to jump through here. Here's the difference. Before, when you ordered an 8-channel device, it came with core software. That is not the case. The server software and client software is loaded, but you have to license it for which version that you need based on your requirements of the project. So when you order this, you're going to order the piece of hardware, and then you're going to order whatever license you need, core, standard, or enterprise. What I really like about this is if I've got a 16-channel device, but maybe my customer only needs 12 channels today, I only need to buy 12 channels of licensing, and I'm going to explain that in how our licensing is changing for you as well. It's all designed to make it a little simpler and really laser focus the product for the application. Drop in 12 channels on this 16-channel device, and then add 1 channel at a time if you need to for the customer. So this shows your 8-channel, and then as you scroll down, you'll notice, sorry, I went a little fast, 100 megabit recording, 100 megabit playback. That's that 200 megabit total. As we go down, you'll see the 16 and the 24, same type of situation where all licenses are available for any of these. You'll see the recording rate, playback rate, those are the key items. Storage storage capability here up to 12 on the 16, 24 on the 24. It says PoE plus, you can see 16, 10, 100, 1000 megabit on each of these. And then it says up to 30 watt per port, 240 max. That's what I was talking about, the sharing capability. If you were to divide the 240 by 16, you get 15 watts each. But I know if I'm running some cameras that have a higher wattage, that I'm not going to be able to populate it with 16 devices. I may end up with 12 or 14 based on my PoE output budget. I hope that's clear. That's a very important piece to this. If you're doing a lot of our PTZs or even a few of our PTZs, maybe even the infrared PTZ that's got a higher wattage requirement, you typically would handle that with a separate power supply, which we do sell those, of course. So download this data sheet. You'll see all the parts are listed, the accessories, and so on. All right, I'm going to jump over to the price sheet for a second, just to let you understand what we're changing a little bit about our licensing. Please download this price list. It is a PDF format, and it is MSRP, and that is a little change for Avigilon. Your partners on this call, and you know that we're going to multiple tiers of pricing, more than we just had before. We had 2 before, but we are increasing that. So we're only going to publish MSRP in a PDF and Excel, and then you can take your discounts off of that. In this price list, you'll see that we're adding the ACC7 licensing, we're adding the HDVA, which is shipping now, a 192 premium server, that is now the top end, and then we've added some new switches to this. So from a licensing standpoint, if you have not heard what we're doing, ACC7, I'm not going to read through this top section, but take the time to do it because it explains a lot about our licensing, the additions, but we are making it much more simple for you. These are all the product codes that we have now. ACC7 Core, Standard, Enterprise, and Enterprise Failover. That's it. When you order this, you can see the MSRP price. You simply put a number in front of each of these different versions. If I'm doing a project with 67 cameras and it's for one location, I'm going to put a 67 in front of this enterprise license. Now, if you know the details of our software, which most of you do, we can now go up to 75 cameras in a standard software application on a single server. So I could have put 67 on standard, but if I'm trying to do failover, if I'm trying to do Windows authentication, if I'm trying to use pro cameras, any number of things, that would have been an enterprise application. So anytime you struggle with this, we do have a data sheet on the software, and I actually happen to have it sitting right here next to me. I can jump over to that. And this is ACC7, which is there for you to download. It talks about what is new with 7. I'm going to be showing you some of this key information, but remember at the end of 7, it shows a way for you to decide between core, standard, and enterprise, because people ask me that all the time. You know, what are my limitations? What can't I do in standard from enterprise? What can I do in core? And you can go right to this data sheet and find out exactly what it is. And it typically has to do with how many people are going to connect to a site, or to a server, I should say, or an appliance. How many cameras per device are there as well, and then the maximum per server or appliance. Jumping back to the software, hopefully that's pretty clear, and that's exciting. To give you an idea, it only takes half a page on our price sheet to show you this, where if you scroll down a little bit and you look at our previous licensing of 6, it took 3 pages of license keys for you to go through to decide what you needed. So you had core, standard, and enterprise, and you're all aware that we had the 1, the 4, the 8, 16, and 24. It's not the case anymore in 7. It's all just one license key for ACC7. You just tell us how many cameras you're going to have on a site or on a server. So if you've got multiple servers on a site, you can share these licenses across those servers that are, you know, in that same site location. It's when you're going across a wide area network to get to other sites that you would typically have another order for licenses. If I'm a hospital and I have 5 locations and the cameras range from 75 to 200 cameras, I'm going to price that out based on 75 ACC7 for one location, 150 for another, and I'm going to have those as separate line items or separate PO numbers that I send to Avigilon so that they understand they are separate code, separate product going into separate sites. Hopefully that's clear. Did Lard, I do okay with that explanation? It can get a little confusing.
Yes, it can get a little confusing, but no, you did a good job.
All right. So when we look at the next generation of our appliances, it is after the NVR value line. You'll see all the accessories. I'm just jumping through that so we can get to the appliance, the new Gen 3. Here they are. So remember, when you order these, because a lot of you order these appliances, you've got to come in here, North America, place this order for the AS3, 16, whatever size drive you need. Of course, the 16 goes from 6 to 18 terabyte. 6 to 18, 6 to 12, and 18 to 24 on the 24 channel. Remember, this pricing is the unit only. ACC licenses sold separately. So please don't price this out to a customer and then come back and go, oh, I didn't realize that you guys had changed it. So you've got to add those licenses in addition. Okay? All right. Last thing is the data sheet on the new NVR Premium that does include the 192 terabyte. Same form factor, just remember we now go from 64 terabyte to 192 terabyte, all running Windows 2016. And of course, our price list shows a lot of options from replacement drives, power supplies, many other items on the price sheet. I'm going to pause for just a second. So we went through the new HDVA appliance, the changes to the price sheet and licensing, and the new premium server. Any questions on any of that, Laura?
Yes, we have a couple of questions. Now I was trying to pull up the specific dates. One of the questions that we've gotten is if ACC 5 or 6 licenses were purchased after a certain date, can it be upgraded to 7 for no additional charge? And the answer to that is yes. And if so, what is the date? Let's see if I can do this from memory. I think, Nathan, okay, you can do it for sure? Okay, go ahead.
Sure, yeah. It's November 15th of 2018. If you bought ACC 6 after November 15th, it's a free upgrade to 7. If you upgraded from 5 to 6, I believe the date is October 5th. It could be the 15th. I may not recall that exactly. But your RSMs and RSDs can tell you that, or you can shoot Laura or I an email and we'll confirm that date. If you upgraded from 5 to 6 in that beginning to mid-October, then your move to 7 is also at no cost. You also, I'll tell you what, I should have probably touched on this because it does show in the price list. I'll just jump over to that. When this first paragraph that I was touching on, read this because it does hit a few key points. You can move from 5 to 7. You don't have to stop at go or stop at 6. You can move from 5 to 7. Make sure you're running 5.10 to go from 5 to 7. That's key. Right? We don't show the dates here, but I believe I'm accurate in what I just told you. I know November 15th is accurate. I believe it's October 5th or 15th to make that move. Of course, you don't need any upgrade to upgrade a core version of software. If you're running Core 5, you can jump to 7. If you're running Core 6, you can jump to 7. No cost. You don't need to call tech support. You can just download 7 and it will upgrade. If you're not sure what you've got in terms of your dates, just get your RSM, the license keys that you have on 5 or 6, and they will send that to tech support and they will tell you what licenses are eligible. Okay. Now, I did talk about this last month and we're going to talk about it in the future, but there is going to be a licensing portal to help you manage your licenses moving forward. That is web-based. That's going to help you with anything you purchase moving forward. Is going to be located in that portal. There is some training you're going to go through and some registration you have to go through. There'll be more to talk about once that training's released. But hopefully that answered that question. Was there another one, Laura?
I'm answering some of them as we go. I'm going to verify that for you, those dates, but just to make sure it's real clear, there's a date for if you flat out bought ACC6 versus a date if you upgraded from either 4 or 5 to 6. So you know how you can buy upgrades versus full-blown licenses. So you have 2 different dates there. And to capture the no-cost grandfather pricing, this is something that's a little different too. You need to do it before the end of 2019. So make sure that you've got your customers, that they are aware that these complimentary upgrades will expire at the end of the year.
Great point, because you know our objective, and you're about to see ACC7, and it is really game changing, and you're going to want to hit the street and talk to your customers quickly and get them to upgrade to 7 because of the features and the benefits that we're adding to this. So Laura's right. At the end of the year is your grace period, and we'd really like you to upgrade from 5 or 6 to 7 before the end of the year. And I'd try to do it over the next few months. After what you see today, I think you'll be excited to do that as well. All right, we ready to move to 7?
Yes, forge ahead.
Forge ahead. Okay, so you will notice the client, this is ACC7 running. It's going to look slightly different. We've flattened it out, changed the buttons around a little bit. I've logged into one location, our Plano site, and what I'm going to do is jump to the view, and you can see the Plano site at the top left. If I extend this as normal, you will see east cameras, west cameras, multi-sensors, north cameras, and so on. These are saved views. Our big release here is something that we call focus of attention. And if you follow social media at all, you will know that there has been a lot of press about this. I've posted several things. A lot of my partners within Avigilon workers are posting a lot about 7 and the HDVA for that matter, but focus of attention is what this is about. So now I can come in here. Of course, I can treat this just like I did before. I can double click on any camera I want. I can drop it into the views. However, I want to set these views up. But if I want to operate focus of attention, I go up here to the top, new task. I click on it, and you will notice right here, it says focus of attention under the view listing. Site login, alarms, focus of attention, license plate match. When I click on that, you see it brings up a new tab. And the new tab is now immediately dropping in those saved views that I showed you from Plano. You see the name, south, north, multi-sensor, and the color is changing based on what's happening in that camera. Now, you notice right here, there's a little icon that says change focus of attention settings. If you click on that, this is where you can go in and decide what the operator is going to be viewing. This is what this is all about. This is the excitement here, is that we've done a great job as an industry selling high resolution. I mean, that's where we've been living and breathing for a long time. Analytics has helped us now draw attention to things, but this is where a live operator is going to be able to look at a single screen and know what's going on with hundreds, if not thousands of cameras. So I can decide, what am I interested in monitoring on my display? This is my focus of attention display. If I were to click motion, then it would start to display motion events here. Now, these are active locations, so I'm not going to click on motion detection. I'm just going to leave it as unusual, video analytics, and alarms. And if you're not 100% sure what these are, I would say get your regional managers in to talk more about it. But basically, unusual motion is built into every camera that Avigilon has. It looks at your scene, and it starts to learn your environment. And as things happen that are unusual based on speed, direction, or location on the screen, it's going to alert me on this screen. It's going to tag it or present me that video. Video analytics, of course, is where I go into a H4A or an H3A camera, and I set up the criteria for that location. Do I have a region of interest, a line of interest, whatever it may be? And if somebody breaks that, I could get an alert. And then I could have alarms. I could have an analytic event tagged to an alarm. I could have my access control ACM create alarms on a door prop, whatever it may be. So this is what I'm monitoring. And then I can decide what cameras I'm going to apply that to. You can see that they're all selected there. So I say, okay, so here we are. We're monitoring. Our focus attention is live. And as things pop up, whether it's unusual or alarms, you'll start to see some colors change. Now, if I hover over one of these, it will then show me the video from that camera. So as I see the state change to blue, you can see the thermal camera. I've got some activity there. If that were of interest to me, I could double click it and bring it up full screen. Notice the little focus of attention drops into the lower right monitor, and I can be looking at that. I could back up in time. You can see it's in playback mode. I could go to live video. I could grab the timeline, move it back if I wanted to, all so that I can review what's happening here. If it's not of interest to me, I can close it at the top right, go back to my focus of attention. I'm also able to go on this screen over here on the left, and it's scrolling these events as they happen. Now, to get a little more activity, I'm going to go back to my site view for just a second, and I'm going to show you how. Now, remember, we've got, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 views, if you will, from Plano. I'm going to jump over to site view, and I'm going to log into a couple of other locations. Our location in Windsor, log into that. Now, when I do that, you'll see the little green check pop up, hopefully. There it goes. When I click on view, now I've got Windsor and Plano. If I look at Windsor and I scroll down to the views, you'll see this external cameras Riverside, external Castle Side, Fame Street. And when I jump over to focus of attention, I didn't have to really do anything here other than create those views. Now these have started to drop in. See this? Riverside, Castle, Fames, internal, east, and they're starting to scroll on my left-hand side. We're getting a little more activity there. Now, as I'm monitoring this, oh, what the heck, let's go ahead and add Vancouver in too. We'll get all kinds of activity going. What I wanted you to see is how easy this is, where you've already created site views, or views within a site, I should say. And now when I look at this, you'll see Windsor, Plano, and the Vancouver site. And that Vancouver site, you'll see has parking lot, east alley, pipe yard. And when I jump over to focus of attention, you'll see that we've added more hexagons. Each hexagon is a camera, if you didn't pick up on that. Now notice I'm missing some of it down here. Look at this little icon over to the right. If I click on that, it will auto fit however many cameras I have from however many sites I've got. I can also take my mouse and roll backwards on it to shrink the display or make it larger. So you can imagine as your sites grow or your camera count, your saved views grow. Remember, you may not want to watch every single camera you have for focus of attention. Say it's a school system. I may want to monitor the entrance and exits of each for focus of attention. I may want to monitor the cafeteria or gymnasium, but I may not need to monitor from an alerting standpoint all the hallway cameras, because we know in between classes, I'm going to get tons of activity in there. So that's what you want to think through. And when you're talking to your customers and your new potential customers, make sure they understand you, and working with them, get to decide what you're going to treat as alerts, what you want to monitor from unusual motion, analytics, and so on. You can also, you remember I showed you motion? That can be pixel motion from Avigilon cameras, or it can be pixel motion from third-party cameras if you click on that. All right, so as I look at this left-hand screen, I can see we've got some alarms that have popped in here. Now, when I touch this, notice over on the right-hand side, the little icon turns green. If I move off, it goes back to red. That's telling me I'm on the pipe yard, alarm, storage yard, and you'll see some additional icons pop up. if I want to share this event, something has happened that I want other leadership within our school or hospital to look at, I can click on share, and it immediately pops up the collaborative investigation, where I can go in here and select any of the people that are logged into this site. And if I select one of them, then they're going to be looking at exactly the same video that I'm looking at. And then, of course, we can get on the phone and talk to each other about this, and we can be anywhere in the world to do this, right? So these are a lot of different Avigilon employees that are doing presentations right now. I can also click here if I see something that's of interest, and I can say open in a new tab, and it will open a second tab. I can jump on that, and I can now monitor that. I believe that alarm came in somewhere around 11:53 or so, and I hit play, and I can look at that and see what's going on there. And so we can see this forklift coming in. Now, for those of you that have been around Avigilon a long time, you notice that the bounding box is different. I talked about this last month. They're all teal now. I'm just going to grab him and pull him back and look at that again. You'll also notice something else. When I touch it with my mouse, it will show an icon. Now, in a forklift, we show a human target because we know a human is in there, but you're going to start to see additional icons that we're going to start to drop in here to identify the objects. You're going to start to see a vehicle icon. You're going to see potentially bicycles, motorcycles, different things like that. You see now we've got a human target walking through an area of interest, and that does show human target there. All right, then the other thing we had is if I'm looking at something of interest, I could create a bookmark. So I monitored, I saw that that alarm happened from 11:55 to 11:58. I could click on and it's going to jump and grab a new bookmark. I can then title that Alert 1, and then I could put a description. I could protect this bookmark, or I could make it private. And of course, it has the camera that I'm interested in tagged. And then I can say, okay, how much time? Well, I didn't need 5 minutes. It was 11:55 to about 11:56 that I had a person in there, just under a minute. And I would say, okay. And then it would tag my hard drive with that bookmark. And you notice, you see a little icon at the bottom there. All right. And then I can go back and look at those bookmarks just like I have before. You can go to your new task. You can go down to bookmarks, and that bookmark, of course, is going to show up. And I called that Alert 1, didn't I?
Yeah, this would be a great time for you to demonstrate the search box up there.
Oh, yes. Okay.
There's a handy dandy search field up there that I love in the bookmarks.
That's true. You just go right here and you type in alert, and there it is, because there was an awful lot of bookmarks that people had. So I can just click on that alert. You can see the timeline shows it right there at the bottom of the screen. And I can, of course, hit play. And I don't know, what I grabbed there, but you can see that vehicle up there shows the vehicle icon as it's pulling away. I didn't pay close attention to the time of that individual, but you get the idea. All right, jumping back to focus of attention. Let's look at some other ones. Here's a good one. If I wanted to, I can also double click. Actually, I have to open a tab. Double click is located here. If I double click on this, I hover over it, it shows it. Double click, it'll bring it full screen like I showed you before. Now, here's a good example. I see a vehicle coming through there that is tagged. And I say, when did that guy come in here? This is where I could go in and say, you know what, I want to do a search for what's going on here. Share, open, bookmark, but I want to go in and do maybe a thumbnail search to see when he showed up here. I can then go right here, hit my thumbnail. It's going to open up a new tab under thumbnail. Oh, it didn't. I guess I didn't highlight that camera, did I? I should have highlighted that one. Let's start this over again. I didn't do a very good job there, did I?
Well, you're all right.
We'll go back to focus of attention. All right. Now we're going to alarm rear drive. Oh, I know. I wanted to go in and say replay here. So you notice when I hovered over it, it said replay or go live. So I'm going replay, and here's the alert that I set up right there. Of course, I can take this and I can say export, or if I wanted to do further searches, I should be able then, if I did that correctly. No, I still didn't highlight that particular camera, did I? I've got to work through that, see what I'm missing within focus of attention, because I wanted to just take this and go into a playback mode right from there. All right.
It looked like that was working. It looked like it was the right camera.
Did it? I thought it was. All right. Then maybe I did do that correctly. Let's go replay. We've got the alert. We're going thumbnail. You're right. I'm sorry.
Right, camera.
Oh, that's the right camera. Yeah. So, in this case, let's say that we did see that vehicle in the back, but if we did have something that we know was removed, of course, we can come in and say, I want to do a quick search for activity in this particular area, or I can move it around because I know a vehicle came in there at the top and something is missing, and then I'm able to just say, go search. Typically, I would want to do more than just a simple 4 minutes. So I'm going to expand this a little bit. And I know something just occurred, so then I would just hit my search, because I just jumped back, and now we're doing the quick thumbnail straight from a camera we were looking at in focus of attention. I'm not getting a whole lot there. Don't really see a change there. All right.
No, you'd really need to do a lot more time, I think, to do a thumbnail there.
Yeah. Here we've got an individual that we see. We can see that they are taking something from the piping right there. And we know that is, we're looking at the clock right there, 11:55:45. Let's try to do it a little cleaner this time. Thumbnail search. Notice something was removed here. And then we're going to just extend that time a little bit either direction and run a search. And then as it goes through, we'll look at a little smaller thumbnail, see if we can get a little more video in here. Well, I am just not getting a lot of luck with the changes there.
Yeah, you're over with your thumbnails. Yeah, no one's stolen anything right there, Nathan. Yeah, while you're playing with that, let me answer a couple of questions that have come across here. Okay, so somebody has asked about backwards compatibility with ACC7, specifically the client, and so if you want to talk about how you're set up right now and what you're doing versus what the servers are doing?
Yeah.
Meaning
so,
you're running AC. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm running 7, but not all of these servers that I'm connected to, and that may be part of where my challenge is on some of this demonstration. They're not all upgraded to 7, so I'm not getting all the functionality I would normally see. But so if the question is, can I load 7 as a client and then connect to some sites that are running 7 and maybe some older sites that are running 5 or 6? Yes, you can do that. You're just not going to get the full functionality that you would if you're running all of 7. Does that help? I think that's the question.
Yes, yeah, that is the question. And the next question is, obviously this is, and I'm paraphrasing the question at this point, this is a bit of a learning curve. It's a very different paradigm shift for our end users. Really going to be beneficial to those that are doing live monitoring. It is not something that your end users must use. They can continue to use Avigilon just like they have been, and not ever even use this focus of attention. And I don't know, Nathan, if you want to elaborate on that.
Well, that's right. I mean, you notice it's a new tab, and that's why I kind of opened the presentation by showing you that I'm logging into multiple sites. And as I log into multiple sites, each of those sites, I can bring the saved views into focus of attention. If I don't want to use focus of attention, I simply close it. And now it's going to act just like it always has with your saved views across the top. I'm just clicking on the plus sign, and I'm creating the different views of whatever format I want to look at. So, if for some reason, maybe it's a customer that doesn't have a very, very big system and they really don't care to even monitor video, I would tell them, you know what, it never hurts to receive alerts. I know you're thinking it's just a forensic tool to look at what happened, but I think as a sales team, we need to educate our end user customers to really get used to having information brought to them. I mean, that's one of the core fundamentals of why they buy a video system, and for that matter, an access control system, is the safety of the facility. So that's really what we're trying to do with focus of attention. Is we're trying to detect the presence of somebody or person, vehicle, whatever, in an area that they shouldn't be at a time of day they shouldn't be. And then through focus of attention, verify what we're seeing is a potential problem and then react to it. I mean, that's really what we're trying to do with focus of attention, but you don't have to do it. Nobody's forcing you to do that. So it can act just like it has. Now, think of it this way. If you're a hospital with a monitor wall of 4 or 8 monitors on display, you may explain to the customer, keep 3 or 6 or 7 of those with your favorite views like you have before, and then just treat one of the displays as a focus of attention display. And if I'm the operator, I would want that either right in front of my desk or right in front of me on the wall, because this is where I'm going to pay my attention over time. And yes, it is a learning curve. There's no doubt. And you'll notice as I look at this screen, I don't know if I pointed out, but at the bottom, you can, adjust it automatically to auto fit. But if I did decide to zoom in on a site, you'll notice there's a red box that pops in here. And I can move this red box. Imagine if I had 500 cameras on display. I can move around the facility based on where the activity is. At different times of day, I may have more activity in certain areas than others. So people have asked me, well, how do I monitor, 2,000 cameras at a site? Well, this is exactly how. I'm able to move around that site very, very easily. So it is a learning curve, but boy, this is exciting to be able to show a customer we're able to present information to you on one display. You're able to see the video on the left-hand side as it moves through. Then you can click on it, open up a new tab with that activity, unusual motion or whatever it may be that's going on, and you can hit play and watch that video going on. A timeline automatically pops in for you, so it's not additional pushes of buttons. I just opened up a new tab and looking at what was causing that motion event. What else do we have, Laura?
All right, yeah, we got a couple more questions. I want to, pardon me, take a second, download the data sheets that are in the handout, especially the system or the data sheet for ACC7. That's going to address this question that I'm about to address now. And the question is operating systems, or what the operating system requirement is. So Avigilon, the way we work is that we follow suit with Microsoft. I think everybody on this call, if you don't know, maybe this is good information for you. Microsoft is going to be discontinuing Windows 7 this year. So as a result of that, our recommendation on the OS for the client for ACC7 is going to be Windows 8.1 64-bit or Windows 10, all of it 64-bit. Okay, on the server, we'll need 2012 R2 or 8.1 64-bit, all this, or Windows 10, 2019, Windows Server 2019 or 2016, all this again is on the data sheet. And it's not, and this is what I've been told by the product guys, it's not that you can install it and it won't work, because it will work. It's not proprietary, but what we're doing is writing the code to take advantage of all the features and enhancements that Microsoft is doing to their operating system, from security patches and things like that, all the way through the optimization of the system. So we're definitely going to recommend that the OSs be up to date because that's our standard to follow. Nathan, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that.
Yeah, no, it will load properly. You just know we're following what Microsoft is doing. So just keep that in mind. Now I want to show you something before we finish today that is going to get a lot of attention for you. If you're selling to customers that have larger systems and you're in a command center that is typically a little, it's typically lit lower or dimly lit, you can just jump over to the menu or the tool icon at the top right, and you'll see client settings. You click on client settings, and under display, you now have a choice between a light theme, and here comes drum roll, dark theme, and I say okay, and this is how easy it is to switch. You don't have to, restart the client or anything like that. So now you should be looking at a dark display. You're in a darker room, easier on the eye strain, just like your dash on your vehicle. And we've gotten a lot of exciting comments and good feedback for this. Makes it a little easier to monitor, a little easier to pick up the colors. Now, the colors will change as additional features within our analytics are added. You may or may not have heard that the new H5A cameras are coming later this year, and they're going to be adding additional analytic capability to the system, and that's going to add additional colors to the system. I suspect you're going to start to see unusual motion. Maybe that could switch to a yellow, where right now it's being presented as an analytic event right now. Okay, so you're going to start to see changes in what the colors mean. I think you're still going to see pixel motion yet blue, an analytic event adds a teal hexagon in the center, and alarms red, but I think you'll start to see additional colors based on additional events that we're monitoring. Okay. Now, since we're in 7, at least I've got a few more minutes, I'd like to maybe just do a quick appearance search. Some of you, hopefully most of you, have been on these presentations before, and your RSMs have done appearance searches for you, but I like to let you see this because this is the kind of stuff you should really be talking about to your clients, because it really differentiates Avigilon. We've talked about our great resolution. We've talked about our analytics, from understanding regions of interest to understanding unusual motion to now, to understanding appearance search. So if I wanted to come in here and do an appearance search, it's as easy as clicking on appearance search, and I'm able to go in and say I'm interested in a person. It was a male that I got a report that was doing something they shouldn't. They had dark hair, not sure if it was black or brown. I can go into clothing, and I can select what color the upper body was. I'll just select blue, darker clothing below brown, and then I can select the cameras, what cameras I want. And you know what, I'm going to go in. I see that I was at the Windsor site. I'm going to go, Plano has a little more activity around our facility, so I'm going to select the cameras at our Plano site. All right, and then I can just say, start my search. Oh, I didn't give you a date and time. So, date and time right here in the midsection, right there. I can just extend it, and now it's going to give me a longer period of time to search. And you can see at the bottom, I can do it here as well, just by scrolling my cursor out, extending my time. And as I change that, the update from the appearance search is going to present itself at the top. And this is something that I talk about in presentations when I'm in front of, you guys, our partners and our regional managers and directors is, we talk about AI, but what you're really seeing here is a much deeper, it's really a deep learning process that's going on. It's actually getting smarter over time. Now, you notice it picked up some females here, but if I have a description on a person, I can select that person, have it zoom into that person. It shows me the view, and it does show blue, dark hair, male, darker, lower clothing. And if he's the guy, of course, I can star him, or I can click right here and say, find him after this or before this. So I'm just going to give it a little star so that it stars my timeline down here. And it's now going to start to look for this individual. All right. You'll start to see that it's going to start to get rid of some of the other people it had and just really focus on this person. And you can tell that's him. I can easily tell that this is him on the next one. And each time I click on the star, it's going to update it and give me a star on the timeline of everywhere this person went. This is a very powerful thing to show your customers. And they use it for a variety of reasons. Somebody has reported an individual on campus that they don't recognize or looks suspicious. We need to find where that person has been, where they are now. And so as you go from top left to bottom right, the timeline continues to move forward in time. And I can find where that individual was the last time he was on a camera in my facility. Now, of course, I'm able to go in and click here at the box and say, these are definitely not the people. I'm just scrolling through and say, nope, nope. And then I could put those and remove them. Remember, I'm trying to build an overall three-dimensional view of this person so that the system will continue to learn who I'm looking for. And then it's very easy for me to then go to the top, click on here, and export all my start events into one seamless video movie. That's what you're looking at there, the clips. And I promise you, if you take the time to show your partners this kind of capability or your customers this type of capability, it's going to separate you from everybody else. So I'll pause for just a second. I'm going to summarize what we went over today. I was trying to keep this to 45 minutes, went a little over. Is we talked about the new HD VA appliance and the new capability there, the new licensing structure within that device, the new licensing structure within ACC7, much simpler for you to manage. And then we talked about focus of attention, how that's going to really change. And I tell you from experience, when I've talked to customers that are not our clients, you know, when we talk to Avigilon end user customers with you guys, they see this and it's kind of a no-brainer. But when we're talking to people that are using other people's third-party software and they see this kind of capability, it's very exciting to them because they have the challenge of what do their people look at? How productive is their staff? And this, I think you have to agree, is going to make them much more productive and keep their facility even safer. Because ultimately, that's what this is all about, protecting people and assets. And I think we do that better than anybody in the world. And you as our partners have this capability to talk to everybody about it. So that's kind of a summary. I also talked about the 192 terabyte new server. And anything I missed, Laura?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, please reach out to your RSMs, your sales engineers, and your regional directors and have them show you this, download it. You can get access to some demo sites as well to show this. It is extremely exciting. Thank you for your time today. It is all about trying to make you the best integrators in the world. So thank you for your time, and we will see and talk to you in a month. Thanks again.
Bye, everybody.